Hi, this is Ruth Theresa with One Inspiring Woman, and I am excited to be with you on this Thursday night. We're getting really close to the end of the year, and so it's really getting exciting for me. We're going to be talking about energy between now and the end of the year and how we're going to be working on it. We're going to focus on kind of like some of the highlights, the new moon, the full moon, all of that energy coming in. We're going to talk about narcissistic energy because that's really starting to amp up, and I know it's affecting a lot of people. I've heard from a lot of my clients. And we're talking about Venus in retrograde. So if you have any questions about this and anything that I talk about tonight, make sure you post your question and I will get to you as quickly as possible. So let's get started. Let's talk about our last full moon in 2021 is on December 18th, and that's literally on Saturday. It's on Saturday. And this one is kind of like the Aries sign of Gemini. This is a will kind of like really light up our desire for communication, enabling us to talk to others about our emotions and expressions of our feelings and being more like effective with our communication. That's kind of what Gemini brings in there. The full moon is all about releasing energy and kind of letting things go, things that haven't been working, to let them go. If there's any loose ends, you have to decide, like, am I going to keep them in my life or am I going to let them go? Kind of, where am I going with this? And this is kind of like getting rid of anything, since this is our last full moon before we start 2022. What is there that's not serving you in 2021 that you're kind of like, okay, I'm going to get rid of this? Maybe that's clean out your closet. Maybe you have tons of clothes that you haven't really gone through. Maybe it's people in your life. Maybe it's objects in your life. I have been organizing, kind of getting ready for this full moon as well. But it's kind of like, what isn't working on my desk? What isn't working in my space? Let's get rid of it so we can move forward. So like, this is really awesome about kind of like bringing and amping up this energy. Let's see. We are going to go into not Venus in retrograde. We're going to talk about Venus in retrograde at the end. We are going to go into kind of our Capricorn season. We're just going to talk about a little bit. I've done a couple of videos on this already, so I don't want to kind of really go into this too much because I've done some videos. So I kind of feel like I've already taught you a little bit about this. If you December 21st marks the start of Capricorn season, and it also kind of really marks our winter solstice. So that kind of everything happens on that day. The sun moves out of its kind of Sagittarius territory and kind of settle down into a new earth realm, which is Capricorn. This season inspires us to get down to business and embrace the no nonsense attitudes of life. This is a great month to focus on your career, being realistic, all about making long-term plans. So if you're going to be making long-term plans, you want to go ahead and start that, because at the very end of December, Mercury goes into retrograde. So you want to already have things started by then. And I did a video on that of Mercury in retrograde and kind of what to prepare, how to prepare for it. Let's see. Getting serious about like your new year is intentions. What are you intending to bring into your new year? What do you want to start 2022 off with? What is it all about? Think of this energy as kind of like the end, kind of like reality check. What do you want to bring in? What do you want to launch? What do you want to take care of? In 2022, you want to, I would say one of the things that's really important to me is continue to stay grounded as much as possible and get prepared for things further in advance. So I'm trying to work on now kind of getting ready for January, February, and March. So I'm kind of like getting all of those ideas prepped and ready, and what do I want to do, and what are the videos I want to do, kind of preparing all of that. Let's see. Capricorn season also marks our winter solstice. And so it's one of those, it heralds in this kind of like new season for us. It's all about the longest night of the year. It's going to be dark for so long. And then we're going to start seeing that kind of lighten up as we kind of move further into out of Sagittarius energy into Capricorn energy. Hi, Miss Karen. And kind of moving into that time. And this is really a great time to kind of celebrate our 2021 year and kind of moving into our kind of 2022 energy, but also it's kind of like, what do we want to bring in? What is a spiritual time? And this is a great time to kind of reflect. One of the things that I love to do is kind of think about all the things that I've accomplished in 2021. What are the things that I didn't think I'd be able to do that I'm able to do or did, and it wasn't as scary as I thought. So that's kind of the energy that's coming in. Into next year. So what are the things that you would really, really want to bring in at this time? So let's talk about on December 24th, we have our last Saturn and Uranus square. And this has kind of been a long time coming. I remember thinking about this at the beginning of the year, going to like, wow, that's going to be forever. And it's just a few days away. So December 24th, we will experience our third and final Saturn-Uranus squares. This is a rare cosmic connection between these two planets, and it is defining really our 2021 year, and it kind of really defined our 2020 year as well, because you've got that Saturn, that strict rules planet, and then you have Uranus, which is all about like that hippy dippy kind of like go with the flow. Everybody's doing this. Let's just do this. And so that's kind of the energy that's coming at us. And it's going to kind of collide. This strong, stern energy with this hippie energy is going to collide. And how is it going to work out? We've had three others. This will be our third one. So this is kind of like this crazy energy in there. So just know that this is coming and things are going to be much better in 2022. Let's see. This square between Saturn and Uranus happens every 20 years, and it is known for bringing growth and tension when it comes up to blend old structures and new way of thinking. Saturn is the planet of rules and responsibilities. So when it clashes with our rebellious planet of like sudden changes, kind of like that, what do we want to do, or how do we want to change this? We can change our traditions, shaking up our status quo, rethinking relationships and structures, and really kind of restructuring how we connect to authority figures as well. This aspect involves outer planets, so it really affects everybody. The further out the planet is, the more it affects everybody else. So that's kind of the cool part. So the further out it is, it's been affecting everybody and will continue, like I said, on December 24th. Let me see. Christmas Eve is going to be really a kind of like this power struggle between both ends of it. Kind of like, what do we want to do new and different? And what do we want to do that's keeping the old traditions? And we're going to see that all across the world. Like, this is brand new. This person is hosting for the first time. We're going to see a lot of those people coming out of the woodwork, kind of changing how things are. Let's see. Dreaming big. Jupiter goes into the sign of Pisces on December 28th. And we are going to kind of sail through this all the way from through until May. Jupiter is known for bringing cosmic blessings. That's a good one to know. Wherever it travels in the zodiac, it's going to bring in those blessings. So it's going to be in the Jupiter is going to be in the water sign of Pisces, and so that's going to bring like a flow of luckiness, kind of like almost like miracle energy to us. So things that we wouldn't think that could happen are going to happen, and it's going to happen really quickly. So that starts on December 28th. Let's see. Pisces is one of those signs that is ruled by Jupiter. So it's going to give it a lot of extra energy and kind of make things work. And it's going to almost seem like magic. Like you'll be like, wow, I really want this to happen. And then boom, it happens. That's the cool part about this. Jupiter and Pisces will bring several general sense of wonders and fascinations, a lot of creativity energy into our lives, and kind of what's going to come up. You might find yourself like falling back into old hobbies that you kind of gave up for a while, or bringing it in, or you might even have things that are like fantasy video games or other things that are kind of taking over during this time frame. We're going to experience spiritual growth, artistic inspiration. So kind of like, what do we want to create in our world? How do we want to do this? And it's going to be affecting our dreams as well. Pisces really can affect our dreams, but we're kind of like coming off that energy of Neptune in retrograde. And here we are amping up with Jupiter in Pisces. And so those are going to kind of collide. So if you haven't started having some really amazing dreams of things that are about to happen, or kind of almost premonitions, they are going to start for you. It is a great time to develop your psychic gifts and expressions. And this is really giving you a channel to kind of give them some insight, some energy, that sort of thing. So let's pull a couple of cards just for what we've got going on for December. So I'll pull some cards. This one is popping forward. So this one is all about focus. And this is what I'm talking about. Like, what is your vision board? What do you want to focus on for the last few weeks of December? And that's kind of like your goals for 2022. What do you want to focus on? Where do you want to go? And starting that now. Don't wait until 2022 is here. Start it now and kind of start thinking and dreaming. I've done several videos on vision boards, and I love vision boards because it just kind of puts what you want right in front of you. So that's really, really cool. The next one is all about freedom. And this kind of comes from Uranus. And it's all about that freedom, that hippy dippy, what do I want to do? So give yourself some time to do this. Kind of give yourself some time to allow that energy to flow, to allow that freedom to flow. What are we going to do? Don't have everything so scheduled down for the end of December that you don't have time to just like, hey, let's make cookies, or hey, let's do something else, or hey, let's go for a walk, or whatever it is. Make sure that you have some extra special time. Enchantment is talking about the same thing. Freedom, enchantment, kind of like having fun with this, really enjoying your time out, and enjoying time with your family. Like I said, there may be some family things that are changing, some old traditions that will be coming out that won't be coming back anytime soon. But those are the cool parts. This one is friendship. Couldn't read it backwards. Friendship. So this is a great time to connect with old friends. I connected with an old friend. We had our best friends move far, far away to Indiana. And so it was really, really sad a long time ago. And there is they sent me back a Christmas present today, so that was kind of like my connection back to them, and hearing about their Christmas card and what's going on with them is really, really, really great. So that's kind of the fun part. Carla, I am not doing that at this time. If you wanted to schedule a private appointment, you can do so on my website at www.ruththeresa.com. So make sure that you reach out to me there and we can get you scheduled up. Let's talk about some narcissist energy that's coming in to kind of affect everybody. Narcissistic energy has been really, really amping up, and it's kind of a lot to do with the energy of the month of December, what we've got going on with Venus, Mercury going into retrograde at the end of the month. So everything is kind of really, really, really amping up. One of the things that I found with narcissistic people, I think is really interesting. Carla, I look forward to connecting with you, so make sure you do that. Let's see. Narcissistic people are not born that way. They are created. So they are created from something happening, usually under the age of 6, usually about 4 to 6 is where it is, and they feel like they're completely out of control. And it's one of those that kind of like, I don't know how to control this. They're out of control. And it seems like maybe your parents are out of control, or they don't know what's going on either. So it's kind of like, oh my gosh, this is really scary and I don't know what to do. So, oh my gosh, how do I deal with this? And so their kind of way of dealing with it is kind of like, I'm going to take charge. And as they turn from that age, as they get older, they kind of learn how to manipulate or keep their energy on top, kind of keep what they want going most of the time. So they're kind of more drama driven. They're more complications and talking about things over and over again. Well, my shoelace tied, it broke and it broke and it broke and it broke. And you're like, oh my gosh, it's like a broken record. And that's how they kind of wind everybody else down. But they also kind of bring in almost like they want to have true empathy for other people, but they can't because they keep going back to me. I need to be number one. I need to be the one who's the most important. And usually you would think that someone who acts like that would have like this really strong confidence, this self-worth, this self-confidence coming in, and they really, really don't. I think that's the part that just like flabbergasts most people. They're like, oh my gosh, they are so, confident with what they want and how they want it and that sort of thing. And usually their self-esteem is the most fragile you will ever come across. It is amazing how fragile it is. And you're kind of like, but they seem so confident. They seem so well-adjusted or whatever else. It's only an illusion, and only that illusion can take over for periods of time. Let's see, narcissistic personalities causes problems in many areas for different people. Usually relationships of all sorts. It could be work, it could be personal, it could be family. It's going to bring a lot of me kind of energy to everything. And that really amps up at this time of year, because you have family and friends over that you normally don't all have over at the same time. If you're having Christmas dinner or Christmas lunch or whatever else, you're going to have so many people around the table. And this is going to bring out that narcissistic one of like, I need to be number one. And you're going to hear them. They're always going to be the one that comes in and it sounds like a hurricane coming through the door. Like, oh my gosh, I'm here. I'm excited. I'm doing this. And you're like, oh my word, what just happened? And it's one of those, it's like they need all the eyes and all the attention on them. And then if they don't get it, then they kind of go into the corner and pout. So then people are always going over to go, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? And it kind of just brings in a lot of energy to them. And it kind of really sucks the energy out of everybody else. Everybody else is like, by the time the day is over, they're like, I'm out of here. One of the things that I have found that is really important to understand is kind of like some of the symptoms to look for, because there's narcissistic people on different levels. So someone may be barely narcissistic to all the way down to like, oh my gosh, they're crazy narcissistic. So kind of where are we going with things? One of the things is it's always about them. They're always going to bring it back to them. It's almost like they circle the wagons and here they come again. And you start talking like, oh my gosh, I had a fender bender and this happened or that happened. And they're like, meow, back to them. And you're like, wait, we were talking about what happened to me and now we're talking about you again. Like, how did that happen? It's the way they do it. They just kind of like bring that energy back to them. They have a sense of entitlement, and they are constantly requiring more and more and more and more of energy, more attention, more admiration, more love, more whatever it is. Like they can't get enough. They may exaggerate their achievements or talents to kind of keep everybody on them. They will monopolize conversations. And then if you kind of watch out, whoever they are most threatened by, they are the ones that they're going to belittle. And usually they do it behind everybody else's back. When everybody else is in the living room and they're in the kitchen by themselves, or they're going to make sure that they meet them in the hallway while they went to the bathroom or something like that. It's like they're going to catch them and kind of say something like, ooh, I can't believe you wore that shirt. Anything to kind of belittle the person that they think is the most threat. So that's kind of like an interesting one. They expect personal favors. They kind of just expect people to just kind of like bow down and kind of like, what do you want? What can I do for you? How can I do this? So it kind of just monopolizes everything that's going on. And they also take advantage of others to get what they want. They almost feel like it's okay for me to do this because I'm so important. You should want to do this for me, or you should want to do whatever it is. And they almost just like demand it, or they will, if you don't, they will sit there and just harp on it until you just give in. You're just like, forget it. I can't deal with this anymore. Believe others and the way that they envy them. They think everybody else is envious of them. And it's kind of interesting because usually people really don't, but they believe that everybody is envious of them. And they also have this way of kind of being very arrogant, especially when they're around other people or people they're trying to impress. When they're around new people, they are going to be on their best behavior, and they will do whatever it takes to kind of keep everybody talking about them, because they want the new people to kind of know how important they are and what they've done and what they've achieved in their life. So that's kind of like that, oh my gosh, this gets old. Now, on the psychic side of this, with your psychic abilities, when you're around a narcissistic and they leave, you will kind of almost feel like, oh my gosh, I freaking need a nap, like a 10-day nap. Like, oh my gosh, I am exhausted. I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted. They kind of just suck all the air out of everybody. And they kind of bring this drama and trauma to anything that doesn't go their way. They're going to react with rage or contempt. Or overreacting. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you didn't do mashed potatoes. And it's like the world is coming to an end because you didn't do what they wanted or whatever it is. And they do have a lot of problems dealing with stress. And that's usually what they end up kind of throwing to other people. They kind of throw that stress to other people, and it can really, really overwhelm us, especially the psychic ones. It can really, really overwhelm us. Okay, so let me pull a couple of cards for kind of like our narcissistic energy. And I want to do it in kind of like, what are some of the things to keep in our mind as we work through these narcissistic people in our family, in our friends, spouses, family and friends, that sort of thing. So this one is the one that's popping up forward. And this one is all about manifestation. So when you're kind of thinking about over the next few days, before we get into it, what you want to manifest, what do you want to draw into you? This would be something that I would want to do the opposite of. So I often tell people kind of doing 180. I don't want this narcissistic personality to take over. So that's the do not want. So let's flip that 180 degrees. I would love for everybody to feel like they're important at the party. See how that flips it? Without saying the no and the don't and everything else, it's like, I want to change this to this. And that makes it much, much easier. Manifesting what you want, and kind of have your game plan set up in advance of like what's going on, or how are we going to deal with this, or how are we going to do this? If this happens, I'm going to do this. If that happens, I'm going to do this. And have your game plan, and make sure that you kind of have a way to kind of get out of the situation for a few minutes. A lot of times, narcissistic people, when they take over, it kind of takes over and kind of like pulls all the oxygen out of the room in a weird sort of way. So make sure that you have a place that you can kind of go as a refuge. I'm talking about, 3 to 5 minutes, kind of get yourself centered back, kind of relax, take it easy. That really, really helps. This one is actually the bottom of the barrel, and it came up. So this one is all about abundance. Make sure that you have abundance of questions that you want to ask everybody. Make sure that you're having everybody on their toes. Okay, Aunt Susie, we haven't talked to you. What's new with you, or what's going on with you? Where are we going at with this? Like, saying, and when someone else interrupts, like, hold on, Aunt Susie's telling her story. And so it kind of gives everybody else that time to kind of set that energy well. So everybody feels like they got to be heard. They got their time in the limelight. They got to say something, or kind of be the head of the group for a little bit. So that makes it a little bit easier. Let me pull another one here. This one is guardian angels. Asking not only your guardian angels, but the guardian angels of the people that are around you, and the guardian angel of the narcissistic personality. And I will also say the narcissistic assistant. There's always one of those involved. And they're always the ones that are trying to keep the peace. So talking to everybody's guardian angels, like, I choose for everybody to feel important at Christmas. I want everybody to feel important as we open up the gifts. I want everybody to feel that they're special, and that they get some time to kind of talk about what's important to them or what's going on. So that makes life so much easier when you have this abundance of questions to ask everybody. What's gone on in your year? What would you like for 2022 to look like? Whatever it is. So, and then making the time to go around the whole thing, so everybody feels like they get an opportunity to be involved and kind of share their energy, kind of get their words out there. That makes it so much nicer for everybody else. Support. these are angels and guides, and it's one of those asking them as well, not only your guardian angel, but your angels and guides and their angels and guides, like, let's make this more balanced. Let makes this so much easier for so many people. This is the best way to do it. So let me put my cards down for a little bit, and I'm going to talk a little bit about our Venus in retrograde. So actually, as of tomorrow, Venus will go into post shadow energy. It went into post shadow energy on November 17th. It will station and turn full retrograde on December 19th, which is on Sunday. And then it will turn direct on January 29th. And it will be out of post shadow energy on March 1st. So it's pre and post shadow energy is longer than its actual retrograde, which is kind of really interesting. So Venus will be retrograding in the sign of Capricorn. This is going to bring out a strong fear in most people of being rejected. And so that's why it's really important to kind of understand this narcissistic energy, because they're going to feel rejected. But if you don't include everybody, everybody else is going to feel rejected. So it's kind of like making it more even or more balanced between everybody is going to make life much easier. It's also addressing who's coming in and what are their things that make them special, or things that they would want to share with other people. So make sure that you are bringing that energy in as well. Capricorn really rules our protocols and kind of like our sense of tradition and our sense of like decorum, like how do we do this? So this is going to be kind of like amping up our love. So how do we love each other? How do we kind of do our sense of, how do we do our protocols? How do we do our traditions? And how do we normally deal with things that we love? So this is really important to keep in the forefront of our mind. It's really great to, especially to be annoyed by people that are like stepping over the line or stepping over the boundaries. And that's where that narcissistic energy can really come in at us. So the strong days are kind of like December 19th, and then January 29th will be another really kind of high day. It's one of those, these days can be a little bit troublesome, but they're not over crazy or anything else. If y'all have any questions, make sure that you post them. If you have anything, I will be more than happy to try to answer anything I've done over December's energy, over narcissistic energy, or Venus in retrograde. So if you have any questions, make sure you post them for me. One of the things in December 19th, we're also going to have like this push of energy from Mars, which can make us a little more impulsive, a little more kind of like rude at times, and kind of more like, I just want to be heard. Normally we would regret this later on and would not be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. It's one of those, you're going to regret it later on. But at that point, it's kind of like, I really feel like I need to be heard. So understand that energy is there. And it might be quite confusing. People that normally don't really demand a lot of attention or energy are going to be demanding it that day. Let's see. On January 8th, Venus forms an inferior conjunction with the sun. And so that's going to kind of magnify kind of like faithful energies, events can kind of really pop up. And that's really similar to our new moon. And instead of our new moon beginning at this beginning of the Venus cycle, it's kind of in the middle of it. Think about like all the new stuff you would want to bring in. Anything that comes up that's like love related, and it doesn't mean like just husband and wife or boyfriend and girlfriend or anything like that. It means anything. Brother and sister, how y'all connect to each other, mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, how do y'all connect to each other? All of this is going to be kind of up in there. So if there's any barriers or anything that we want to get rid of it now. Don't move it into our next year, and don't move it in to our relationship one more time. Let's see. When Mercury forms a conjunction with retrograde Venus on the 28th and 29th. There can be a lot of conversations about relationships, especially ones in the past, things that came up from a long time ago. This can bring new light and shed really amazing energy onto old problems and old issues. This is really great for kind of people that really love to talk about things like that and kind of like really bring that energy forward of like, wow, I didn't know I could do this, or wow, I didn't think about it that way at that time. Okay. Let's see. Watch for the 29th and watch for confusion in situations, and make sure that you're asking for clarity on those days. If there's something that's not clear, even if it's scheduled for that day, make sure that you're double, triple checking, kind of like, let me confirm one more time. Let me make sure I've got the right dates for this, or the right time for this, the right location for this. So we're kind of really dealing with that. You may be kind of really in an energy where you kind of feel like you need to kind of get your voice heard. And so that may bring up some arguments, or kind of some energy of like, hey, hold on, I need to be heard as well. So that can bring up some energy as well. So let's pull a couple of angel cards for Venus in retrograde. If y'all have any questions, I will be more than happy to answer them. Let's see. Divine guidance. Divine guidance is really important during this time frame. Our divine energy, kind of like our Venus is our love divine, and how we deal with love and how we deal with old love. And this could also bring up divine things that we've had in the past, like connections or relationships that we've had in the past. It could bring up old boyfriends, old girlfriends, exes in a lot of different ways that may come up in some areas, and maybe even just of topics of conversation of like, wow, I didn't think about it that way, and now I'm thinking about it that way. That makes it much different. Truth and integrity. This is a really important one, especially because during this time frame at the end of December, we're going to be having Mercury go into retrograde as well, into pre-shadow. And so really speaking our truth and speaking what we really have to be heard with, and making sure our communication is really, really clear and pristine, because so many times we don't do that. So many times we just kind of like, we assume they understand, they know what we want, or whatever else. And that's not the way it should be. New love. This one is really, really big with Venus in retrograde. And make sure that if there's any boundaries or old things that come up with you, like, well, my ex cheated on me or whatever else, make sure you let that go. Make sure you go through a releasing process, so you let that energy go and not hold on to it, because you don't want to bring that energy into what you're doing now. You really don't. You want to make sure that your new energy, your new relationships have this amazing energy and moving into. So let me talk a little bit. We're a couple of minutes over time. I will be doing a very, very special Thursday Night Live. I haven't done one like these in several months. I will be open to questions. It will be done on December 30th. Your questions must be emailed. And when I schedule that one out, I'll do it several days in advance. You will have to email me your question. And there are some rules and some regulations that I'll send you, so you can ask your question in the most divine way, so I can get all of them answered. And I will do as many as I possibly can. I am very excited about this. I also have my New Year, New You group reading coming up January 29th. That's here in Sugar Land, Texas, from 1 to 4 in the afternoon. And that's going to be really, really great. I'm going to love that. I also have a lot of people scheduling their holiday group readings. I know I work through the holidays. It's just one of those things. So I have special holiday pricings for bigger groups. I really, truly love doing big groups during this time frame, because usually it's one or two people that have passed throughout the year, and they really want to reconnect to that as well. I have some new dates for my Psychic 101. This workshop will be all online. I have a couple of clients out of state, and they're going to be joining us. And so this is going to be going on. And then we've already scheduled our Psychic 202, and that will start sometime mid-February. If you have any questions, make sure you're reaching out to me through my email or through my website, www.ruththeresa.com or ruth@ruththeresa.com. If you have any questions or anything else, please leave your comments and I will check on them tomorrow. I thank y'all so much for joining me tonight, and I know that we'll be talking again soon. Have a great one, guys.